Adam, I've locked you down a dark path once again.
You like this stuff. I think that the generational difference between us is like my generation had a slight bit of hope and your generation has no hope. And like, I get it. It makes sense. Every day it makes more sense to me. Like, you're not wrong.
Technology is it's trapping us in our algorithms, and we're never going to be able to connect to those people on the other side.
Yeah, in the time of AI and data centers, like, dude, we'd be blessed to have fucking ghosts in our dial-up.
Like, Ghost, can you deal with the AI data center? Can you guys go haunt that place? That was actually the warehouse at the end was an AI data center. We didn't really ever see it in use. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, so like that's why it's depressing, because the movie is built to make these people so depressed that they disappear forever.
It all began one day, without warning, like this. Welcome to Additional Group. Today we bring you two groups of people discover evidence that suggests spirits may be trying to invade the human world through the internet. I am, of course, talking about Kiyoshi Kurosawa's film Pulse, alternatively titled Kairo in Japan, the originating country. This is the second Kurosawa film we've discussed on this podcast, the first being Cure. But this is my first with Adam. And Adam, I've locked you down a dark path once again.
You like this stuff. I think that the generational difference between us is like my generation had a slight bit of hope and your generation has no hope. And like, I get it. It makes sense. Every day it makes more sense to me. Like, you're not wrong.
we're looking at technology and we're like, yeah, this could be awesome. This could unite the whole entire world. But it's not gonna. You're just like, oh shit. For all those folks out there, I'm going to introduce
a coffee table, man.
Oh, well, it could have been, if you just dropped a modem on a baby. Okay, so I'm Nick. I'm here every time. Basically, with me is Adam. Adam, you are a frequent co-host, the VHS Goblin on Instagram, good friend, etc. How's it going, Adam? How you doing?
It's good. We live in Oregon, so, I don't want to like timestamp things, but it's very hot and very smoky. The state's on fire. So It's a nice time to be inside. It's great. Other than that, everything's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I know. It's weird.
I had a garage sale this weekend.
Oh, sick. Here we go.
It was good. God, man. Like grand something. Yeah, it was good. Got rid of a bunch of stuff I didn't want, which is awesome. And so it was good. Nothing crazy though. I put out some VHS tapes and didn't sell a single one.
Oh, really? For real?
Nope. Mm-mm.
People aren't here for that, huh?
Well, I had probably 10 guys stop by looking for horror tapes, and I'm like, but it was like good stuff. There wasn't, it's like the stuff I brought to Mecca. It was decent stuff. But I made a bunch of buttons, and dude, people loved buttons.
Yeah,
heck yeah. So many buttons.
Did any Cyberman ones? We got there yet?
No, but I will. That's a good idea. Write down anything you want me to make. It's easy G's.
The Cyberman is just such a cool picture, man.
I got rid of some video game stuff, specifically like I'm mad at PlayStation. So I never used it anyways. So I got rid of that. That was a big chunk of it. And bunch of clothes. I lost weight and pants don't fit me anymore. And yeah, dude, it's cool. Garage sales. Yeah, I'm sure people are really stoked to hear about that. Yeah, yay.
Yeah. Well, this is
fun. But if you want to get rid of your stuff, a garage sale is awesome because you can make a few bucks and then you can talk to everybody in your neighborhood, which for me is a nightmare. I hated it, but Deborah loved it because she's a social butterfly. I, on the other hand, am a hermit. I like to live in dark, dank places.
My experience has always been during like the heat of the summer when there's no shade in the front yards. Like in the first 20 minutes, you're like, this was a good idea. And by the second hour, you're like, oh my God, dude, this is the worst idea and the worst thing I've ever done in my life. And then you sit out there for 6 more hours. So
we had a pop-up at least.
That's nice. See, this is good. I'm just getting over COVID, so I apologize if you hear me cough or if I lapse into a train of thought that's tertiary to this world. Um,
Listen, he caught this COVID from the California State Fair, and if we're talking about like Baskin Robbins
mhm.
flavors of COVID, like that's probably a really cool flavor of COVID.
It cement, greasy, and 110 degrees. I'm just saying, like it's the good stuff. It got right
Yeah,
in.
deep fried Snickers bars, baby, right in
That's
your
what
lungs.
I'm saying. But you have to write the carcinogens down. So not only do you get to eat the good stuff, but you also get to know what it's doing to you at the same time. Really
Good,
terrible combination, honestly. Okay,
good.
so we're talking about the movie Pulse. I'm gonna show this real quick. So you may remember.
Everything we just talked about was so much more positive than.
That's true. This is true. So this is Pulse. This is the 2001 version from Japan. Kiyoshi Kurosawa's version of the film. There is an American version made in, I want to say, 2006. If you watch that version and you're expecting this to be at all the same, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's not. The American version starring Kirsten Bell is a much more positive movie. Shockingly, somehow they managed to do that, and it is very much more a ghost story. This movie, and we'll get into the reasons why here in just a little bit, but is a completely different thing. So this is the Japanese version. We will start off the review with a spoiler-free kind of recap of our pros, cons, pluses, negatives, et cetera, et cetera. So that way, if you haven't seen the movie and you're still kind of curious, you can stick with us for a little bit. I'll let you know when the spoilers are coming in all the way. But the first little segment we have here, and this is just something that we have to do because this is who we are as people, is we have to show off our best new finds. So Igor, take us to the best new finds.
Igor, what's up, homie?
Yes, master. Yes.
Igor is having a good time, I think. Um, he hung around too. I don't know what's going on.
I love
He
him.
has
That's
COVID
good.
too, I think. There we go.
How dare you?
Well, Igor's the best. So, Adam, you always have really good finds. I'm gonna run through just a few of these real quick because I only brought up two to show you, and these are some PS2 games that I managed to find while in
Sick.
California, and they're ones that I'm excited for. Right. So the first one is just Evil Dead Regeneration. I've never played this one,
Never
but it's
played that.
yeah, and it's the one with the little guy. I don't remember his name. I want to say it's Frank, but I might just be making that up. But let's be real here. I remember hearing
Oh,
about
that's
this
sick
guy,
though.
but I had never seen it before. So I saw it and it was a pretty good price. So I picked it up and I'm excited to try that one out. But in honor of the movie getting re-released streaming only, so screw them, and it's Disney, so there's feelings behind it. But however, at the same point, I'm going to be happy because it's more X-Files content out there in the world. They're re-releasing the X-Files. I want to believe Frankenstein cut, whatever. Chris Carter's being a weirdo. That's just his business. But they
Right.
are re-releasing the X-Files movie from like the 2009, and I got the PS2
The
X-Files
one
game.
with the bees?
No, the one afterwards, the one with the weird dog and the guy who's doing all the weird like biological
I may have never seen that.
science in the Arctic. And if you didn't see it originally, don't feel bad. Like it wasn't that good. It was just very okay. If you like X Files, you liked it. And if you didn't like it,
I
there's
do
no
like
reason to
X
watch it.
Files.
But check this out, right? So this game is like a full on Resident Evil style survival horror, and it's got like autopsies and survival horror management. If you play as Gillian Anderson, you're doing smart stuff, but if you play as David Duchovny, you're just shooting, blasting weird things in the face. This one, that's where it's at. You'll probably be seeing me playing some of this on the channel at some point after I'm finished with this Legend of Zelda game that I'm working through.
Nice, dude. Sweet.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Those are
But
dope.
Adam, show me what you got. Show me what you got.
Let's start with something not crazy. But it is crazy. So you know how you get these switches and it's usually AV coax? This one it's got aux out on the front and it's S video.
Yeah.
So it's got S video splits with the AV. So this thing is pretty freaking cool because I didn't have one yet. So really excited about that. A couple comic books. This is Guardians #1, and this is the new Guardians #2. And the new Guardians #1, the villain is called Hemo Goblin, and he goes around and gives people a bloodborne disease. This was during the AIDS crisis. And so that's what this one's about. And then in this new Guardians, the villains, this is number 2, right? So they did so good on number 1. They roll into number 2, and the villain in this is called Snowflame. And his superpower is cocaine. He does cocaine and rages. That's why it's called Jungle Snow, this issue.
All of them ordered by Ronald Ray Gunn, right? Of course.
I mean, I'm just saying, DC superheroes, like, that's just...
That's good. That's fun.
So, yeah, I got those. Dude, that's so fucking funny. I don't care what anybody says. That shit's hilarious. I mean, bad, but, like, real funny. And then, I thought, since fucking dude...
Yeah. Let's see if we can get
happens.
Hey, I'm stoked about this. Okay.
What we got? We got Egypt.
Egypt.
We got
Flag
Desert Hawk.
See, that's sick. Josh Hartnett's writing on that.
FA-18 Hornet.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's a Tomahawk cruise missile right there.
Ooh, we ran out of those.
Yeah, I know.
That thing.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Ooh, anti-chemical gear.
Oh, sick. Okay, wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
That's the real life stormtrooper thing going on here.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool, Dude, look at that. That's desert drink, right? It's a bag of water he's got there. That's cool. Getting into the named card now.
Oh,
not a person. The USS Sides.
That was not a very...
That's got to be somebody's last name. So otherwise, it's terrible.
There's actually no front on that boat. The
Chinook. CH-47 Chinook.
That's got to be when the Chinooks came out, though, right?
No Schwarzkopf.
No Schwarzkopf here.
No mission accomplished.
Maybe next time. Hussein. Well, we'll get there.
There you go. A tech item, some fine literature, and some more war profiteering, because it seems like that happens every day in the world. So why not?
We're just we're living through what we got. So with that said, I will tell anyone, if you're looking for movies, this is going to be the consumerist part. Real quick, through the month of August, Barnes & Noble's doing an Arrow Video Blu-ray 50% off sale. I've shouted out the Criterion sale before, but this is just a really good way to get those movies pretty cheap. They're usually like, I picked up The Eye today, which is another, Asian horror movie that was made, remade in
Iris's hands. Mm-hmm. It's not okay.
No, the secondary cover, and I always like the original covers, are just so much like crazier, but anyway, like, great time to go pick up some Blu-rays, especially if you like just shopping at a store. I prefer that over the internet. So I always bring these up when you can, because it's like actually cheaper than, getting on eBay and choosing something there. You can go and put your hands on it and take a look and see, like,
did it come with a digital code?
This one didn't. I wish it did, but it didn't. Arrow and Criterion aren't great for that, but any new Blu-rays come with digital codes, and we went off about that a little bit. Really, if you're getting a new movie and it costs full movie price on Amazon Prime, just stop. Just go buy the Blu-ray. Go buy the digital. I don't care if you don't use it. Go buy the Blu-ray from Walmart. Give that to a physical media collector, and then keep the digital code for yourself. It's the same thing. You're just getting free extra actual physical copies of the movie. Just do that.
Get a converter, convert it to AV, run it through VCR, put it on tapes, put it in a drawer, never watch it again after you record it onto said tape. Let tape sit there for 50 years. Great grandchildren find said tape.
They turn on the movie Pulse and they get...
It's physical, right? It'll still be there, right? And they'll turn on the movie Pulse, and then it's going to be your fault, even though you've been dead for 20 years.
You'll connect in the weirdest way through a movie that's all about how technology makes us not connect. Trust me, I made my personal copy already on my hard drive of this film, so check mark for whoever owns the rights to this one. It doesn't make sense, and I know it doesn't. So let's move on to the spoiler-free likes and dislikes of the film, Igor, if you will.
Yes, master.
He's cracking out a little bit, dude.
Igor's having a whole day of it. So spoiler-free likes and dislikes of Pulse 2001. I'll go first here. So for me,
And once again, make sure to make that distinction, people, when you look it up, because those are two totally different movies. They're not totally different movies, but they are totally different.
I don't. After watching this one, I don't really know
There's
how the
no
American
dub
one.
of it. You can
Yeah,
only find subtitles. So
and I don't really know
if you're
how the
not a
American one
subtitle
decided
person,
like that its plot was going to be what it ended up being, because it's just not the same. It's very confusing choices, just I think made to be more palatable, and yet at the same point, we'll talk about some of this coming up here soon. So here's some my positives for the film Pulse.
we're a
So
country that puts sawdust in our food.
they can't paint all the walls in America. It costs way too much. So this movie really creates and reinforces a sense of dread throughout the film. Thematically, the movie is really tight. I think that it manages to keep a really strong hold of its artistic sense throughout the whole thing. Kiyoshi Kurosawa and his the people who worked with him to create these sets and designs, they really knew what they wanted, and they accomplished that. There's good and creative use of special effects. It means that things don't always have to be extreme to be effective. Many effective scenes were really shot with just really simple ideas, and I usually love it when you can pull off something that is so shockingly simple and yet it just works.
Body horror without gore is very difficult.
And then you'll see that, like, in a lot of really popular movies, that this tends to be something that happens, is people being really creative with very little. Uh, the soundscape in this movie is extremely atmospheric, and it adds a lot to this film. I've described Cure by Kurosawa as Lynchian in its sound design, and this movie just took that and went to the next level with it. The movie sounds are just such an integral part to how you feel when you're watching this. The ideas that are presented, they still resonate today, even if it's maybe for different reasons than we originally see them presented in the film. And that's always an interesting thing. When you do something that talks about technology in the future, how does it sit? And was it completely wrong? Does it still feel? And I think this one has a thread of truth through it that's hard to ignore completely. And I don't know that it would be for the same reason that he made the movie and he wrote the movie, but it's still there. Some of the negatives for me: pacing and cohesion can be really confusing at times, exceptionally confusing, even if you're paying pretty good attention. Uh, does anyone really know what's going on in this film? And that's more of a rhetorical question. That's one of the negatives. The neutral is the movie doesn't present any answers. It's a choose your own meaning sort of joint, right? Like, it gives you ideas on what could be happening, but you never get an answer. So you'll know if you love that or if you don't. If you love it, there you go. It's for you. And if you hate that, I'm warning you. You got to make a decision on your moral fabric.
I mean, you get closure.
True, true, true.
It's just not validating of any. Anyways,
Yeah. Adam,
there is an end.
run me through your pros and cons here, Adam.
Intentional, thoughtful filmmaking. Didn't feel like a lot of corners were cut, yet he still got across the things he was trying to get across. It felt more like the ghosts and the style and like the things that were happening are obviously through a Japanese lens. I think that was part of my problem following it as well, because I'm reading words and not looking at the people. And to be completely honest with you, I started interchanging people in my mind at points, and so I got a little lost. And that's just me being a stupid American, and I totally own that. Like, I should be better, but maybe on a second or third watch through I could catch things a bit better, but I caught enough this time. I was real sad. So, but so, that was fine. The actor chemistry, like on screen though, there was a lot of really great moments. I liked the actors, in general. Even the small bit parts, and we'll talk about some of those later, but like random people that would just pop into the world, were so like lasting impression kind of things, which I really like from side characters. It's very whimsical to me. It's a fantasy premise gone horror, it doesn't feel like zombies or murderers or anything kind of horror. It's more existential horror, I guess I would say. And like you said, choose your own adventure, but I do like that. I like that it's not, is it evil? Is it not? It's up to you to decide, and I like that better than like, oh, it's zombies and they bite your butt. And like I told said a bit ago, but it's got great body horror, without being gory, which is like my favorite body horror. Right? It's uncomfortable. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to spoil, but yeah, it's got good of that. And then yeah, I said felt slow, likely a language and culture issue on my part, and then I said maybe my brain is just rotten. And yeah, the special effects were there. They were. I mean, we're going to talk about that too. But if you're going into it looking for amazing special effects with like scenes and backgrounds and like staging and stuff, probably not the movie for you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
Some of the rooms were cool though, I guess.
very, very interesting, and I have an idea about how those came about, although I didn't verify it. But that's the end of our spoiler-free part. Just everyone who's watching now who hasn't watched the film, you got a better idea of what it's about, and if you're interested, tune out now. Go watch the movie if you're interested. Okay, then come back, listen to the rest, because right
It's a
now we're
good
gonna
movie.
we're gonna bust through the rest of it right now, and it's gonna have a lot of spoilers. We're gonna say all of it, the bits, the pieces, the things. So, all right, now they're gone.
Red jacket guy.
Igor, make sure they're gone. Take us to the human stuff.
Yes, master. Yes.
Oh, Igor's having a good time. I don't know.
He got the COVID. He's got
Yeah.
gummy bear brain.
He did. Okay, so Cure is not this movie. Pulse is this movie. Cure is this other movie. Pulse is abstractly only about the human stuff, in my opinion. Like this is a movie, so it's got a lot of artistry, and we'll be able to talk about that. But the core tenets of this movie almost don't exist, other than to ask you the question of like, what is humanity? What is loneliness? What does loneliness mean? Does technology, can it be something that brings us together, or does it just rip us apart?
Right. It's also a movie that could have been done on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't. It is really human interaction heavy. I guess what I was trying to say at the end there is the plot places aren't like they're what they need to be, but I guess I'm more talking like when you see the city turning black and like all that stuff. It's just very bashky Lord of the Rings kind of painted on animation, which isn't bad. I like it, but
You're right, but it's not.
it
the
takes you
driving
out of it a
force.
little bit.
Yeah. One thing we'll talk about it more is whenever someone rides a bus in one of these Kiyoshi movies, man, it's always so funny because it's such an obvious backdrop and it looks so like done on purpose. I don't know.
What's
But
that
yeah.
movie we watched where those three guys were riding the bus and they got ate?
Oh, that was the Halloween feast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buses backstops.
There's probably more key points to Pulse, but Pulse seems to make the statement that technology and the future of technology is just tearing people away from each other and creating loneliness. And I think if you look at it through the lens of 2026, after the COVID quarantine, heck, can you imagine watching this movie in like September of 2020, just in the thick of it, and you're just watching this thing and everyone's online, everyone's on the internet, and no one can be near each other, like there is this like thread of truth in this that's hard to ignore in ways, but I do think it's an incredibly cynical take on technology. And it's an incredibly cynical take on human interactions in general. Because there's this recurring theme in this movie, and it's one of the few that keeps showing up, and it is the computer software that was created by one of the computer science graduate students, where the two dots, when they keep moving and they're drawn to each other when they get too far away from each other, but if they get too close to each other, they die.
Right.
And it's almost like this idea that like humanity and creating connection can only lead to destruction anyways. However, if you're alone, you can be there forever with no actual impact on existence. Hence, we see these crazy black wall oil splotches that are, and this is
Where
definitely
they
open
go,
for
you think?
interpretation.
Shadow Realm? I think they got
Shadow
Shadow
Realms,
Realm.
something. So we have homie in the red jumpsuit who pops in and gives us a little bit of an exposition dump halfway through this movie, but everything else is kind of just made
Dump
up.
is a big word, man.
It's true. It's true. He gives us the only hints and threads of what is actually happening.
Yeah. And all he's saying, like, dude, shit's fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see it too. Here's what I think. And the guy's like, nah, man.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you see that ghost over there? Me too. You know why? It's here, dude. Like, yeah, this is really going on. But he gives the whole. I think that the spirit realm is overcrowded, and they're spilling out, and they find the modes of transportation, and that is our internet lines. Essentially, it's like the phone lines when it connects via
Right.
56K. They figured out how to get in there, and they can turn it on whenever they want to, and
My
what they
first
can
modem
do.
was 300 baud.
Yeah. That's that's
Go
crazy.
check out the BBSs. Take you
Yeah,
like a day and a half to download an image.
and it's not a fun. Well, it was fun actually. I really enjoyed it, but I
I
remember.
played like Legend of the Red Dragon and stuff, and like I liked Usurper, like in the
Mhm.
GURPS engine and stuff. I liked the text-based games, so
I got a lot of nostalgia watching him install the program. The Do You Want to Meet a Ghost program? Um,
yeah.
that was pretty cool, and I do remember computers around that time. That was, I think, maybe right just before Diablo 2 would have come out, so maybe like Warcraft 2.
It's like when I got my first computer, like
Mhm.
actual my own computer, because that was like, God, I was probably 20, 21, and Diablo 2 had just come out. And so I was like, need a computer. And I had a job and shit, and I got myself a computer. And I
See,
played Diablo 2 way too much.
I was still like sneaking into the family room at night and trying to turn on the 56K modem without anyone hearing me. I've like, hey, or it was
It's a
Earthlink.
great noise. But yeah, they all the technology and stuff really,
Hmm.
it was on point, and it's like, different enough that I'm sure people 20 years later watching it, it's kind of a removal of, but that was a very
Hmm.
unique snapshot of technology. It was before
And
things got good at all.
yeah,
But it was good because it was awesome, but like, you know what I'm saying?
well, it's interesting because you
It's the
take this
Wild
idea,
West.
and if you have like ghosts that are coming through now and you remake it with the internet in your pocket at all times, where the ghosts have basically an option to enter the world at any point, at any time, anywhere in the entire world. Right, like this movie looks different now than it did then. But so the ghosts aren't killing the people, and I think this is an important little plot line. They don't want to kill the people because the spirit realm is full. They're actually out here trying to depress people so much they turn into, I called them shades, just because what else do you call it, really, right? Like they were turning into shades, these oil splotches that you see, and then from my understanding, staying there forever. That's why if you got close to one, you could hear a whispering to you with that, like, serious
Or
ASMR. Help
sometimes
me.
they were like standing in front of them.
The jump
So
scare.
that's where they're like tethered to, right? Was
Mm-hmm.
what I thought.
Mm-hmm. This is like where they will live for the rest of
They
forever.
dimensionally phased into the shadow realm, and that's where they
Mm-hmm.
live. You need to go through a CRT TV and get Zelda over and call them to the light to get them out.
And I would think that like this is where I do
Clearly.
wonder about a lot of those cultural differences. You know, like is there some like key here that I'm just completely missing because I didn't grow
Yes.
up with the Japanese culture? And I'm like, you reach like a certain level of depression that you just fade out of existence essentially, but you still have to have presence somewhere, and this is like that version of it. I I don't know. And then there's the rooms with the red tape doors, which everyone who before they commit the people we see commit suicide in this film, which there's a couple, we see them tape up their houses with the red tape and they kill themselves. Not everyone does. So there's a difference in what's happening here, but I couldn't really parse out exactly. And I can make a guess, but I'm not here with any confidence telling you I know why they did this. So they would tape up the red doors, and then whoever did it would then go commit suicide. We see the lady jump off the water tower after she tapes up her red door. We see the gentleman.
Brutal.
Oh man, it just follows it the whole way too. If you're looking for happiness in a film, this one doesn't really deliver on that very well. Um, it just didn't. The thing about this movie, and I'm going to say this quite a few different times because this is the movie that I think is the closest to ever eliciting the same feeling to me, is that Kiyoshi Kurosawa has to have loved David Lynch. I said that during the Cure movie because I felt it a lot there, but here I feel it even more. It's all abstract in a way that allows you to connect with the characters, but it allows you to insert so much of your own opinions and ideas into the movie that I don't think there could be one direct, distinct answer for what's going on. I think it's supposed to be you filling in the gaps and saying, this is why this thing exists. And I'm going to relate it to technology in the way I relate to technology.
Right. Valid. Yeah, it's a well-made movie. It artistically, it's great. I mean, we'll go over it, but it's fantastic. Emotionally, it's draining and punishing, and and creates anxiety and feelings of depression and fear for others in a really like yeah. Anyways, good times.
Yeah.
You know,
One
I
thing
like the scene where Chris Farley jumps up and dances on the table. That was
was
pretty good.
we get one very brief optimistic scene with one of the characters basically trying to talk about is like, no, don't bring up death. I don't want to talk about it. We're gonna get pills to make us live forever. That'd be neat, right? And then the other the ladies with is just like, whatever, dude. No, not that. I thought this portrayal in some
Do
ways was
you
so
want to
interesting.
live forever? Well, yeah. And then she just went nuts. Cool.
And it's funny because technically this is the people living forever, right? That's the sad part about it is they're not
Yeah.
dying. It's not about death. It's about living forever, isolated, separated in that extra realm. I just, it's such an alien idea coming from America and hearing everything I heard about dying and death and the afterlife, etc. Right, and my own thoughts about what nothingness is. To instead then be presented with the idea that, well, what if you're forever lonely and that being the worst thing ever? You know, like you are floating in the blackness, but with your consciousness, and that's all that ever is, ever again. And like,
That's
what
why
does
I
that
can't
actually
fall
mean?
asleep at night. I can't imagine doing that for like a living.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I hate listening to my head. It's no
hmm
good.
And it's yeah, and you just so now that's all there is, right? And it's touched on, but you're never given answers, so you have to fill in your own blanks. And I think I'd be doing a disservice to anyone listening to say that I know exactly what's happening because I don't think that that's a thing.
Well, I don't think there's. I mean, surface level, this movie is what it is, right? With a lot of like choose your own adventure points. But I think the story and what happens is very right there on the page. You know, there's not a lot of explanation to it. There's ghosts in the internet that are trying to steal people's place, you know, and like, and they make you so sad that you off yourself and turn to dust. Like, and they do so. I guess it's like scaring you to death a bit. They do spook people.
They stare into your eyes and like show you like that doesn't necessarily anything particular. It's like almost an existential dread that's so deep that you just disappear.
Yeah. Which valid. I get. I can completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that way a lot. So yeah. Um, the thing is about this movie and the points that it was making and like how things happened. I think back then may have felt dramatic and drastic and stuff, but today it's just like, yeah. And it just makes you sad because you're like, yeah, that's pretty much right, like you got it.
Yeah, technology is all it's trapping us in our algorithms, and we're never going to be able to connect with those people on the other side
Yeah,
of
in the
it.
time of
Or,
AI and data
great.
centers, like, dude, we'd be blessed to have fucking ghosts in our dial up.
Like, Ghost, can you deal with the AI data center? Can you guys go haunt that place?
Please.
Just that was actually the warehouse at the end was an AI data center. We didn't really ever see it in use, the whole
God,
thing.
man.
But
Yeah, so like that's why it's depressing because the movie is built to make these people so depressed that they disappear forever, and they show you the passage of that through multiple different
mhm.
lenses of different people going through it, and like, yeah, so the effect is you get depressed, right? And in most movies, you look for some sort of silver lining or gate at the end to walk through that like cleanses you somehow, that makes you feel like, okay, well, I watched that movie and I feel at least a little vindicated at the end or justified. Not, this is like fucking a Korean movie, Nope, not in the end of this. Guess what? Everything sucks and fuck you.
The people, it's
And then
funny.
it just goes to fucking credits.
The people get out. The people get out. You're like, oh my gosh, they made it out. They got out of Japan, right? They're on this boat. So there's other
And
people
shit
around
just
them
worse
clearly.
now.
And then she's sitting down and she's making the story. Well, at least I always have you. And then it just flashes over to his shade in the wall, and you're just like, oh fuck, dude, come on. Like, oh, she doesn't have him either. He made it out with her. He made it out with her. He has to have hope, right? And it was like, nah, he doesn't.
No.
Turns out that's not the way that works.
Nope. Not at all.
I I haven't, and this is something that I've watched a lot of Japanese horror movies at this point, right? But I've always been curious, and the only place I've ever been able to find like that connection is the and I'm gonna mispronounce these names, and I'm sorry. Okay, I'm trying. Junji Ito, the guy who makes all those manga that are really famous. Me and Andrew did a movie of his Uzumaki not so long ago, and then it got made into an anime. Anyways, it's all very existential cosmic horror from Japan, and I really want to check out more of that sort of thread because it seems to have not necessarily a complete difference in the way it's treated in America, but culturally you can find the difference because it's all about society as opposed to about the individual, right? And this movie presents the same. It's like, yeah, okay, so individually they can talk to each other and you can still have your friends near you, but somehow the culture is getting so destroyed that it doesn't matter that you have this friend close to you one on one. That's not the point. The point is now that you don't have this greater binding force in
Those
maybe the
things look
culture.
really, yeah. Yeah, man. I'm following.
Yeah, and I again, this isn't me presenting an answer. This is me spitballing about this movie because there's
Right,
so
but
much
no, I
space
got
in
it.
it.
It made my brain think about other Japanese films I've seen too, and something even as silly as like Totoro and the soot spirits, the soot sprites. Like, that's what those people turn into, right?
Mm-hmm. Something like that,
Things that are
right?
afraid of the light and hide and are lonely and because they break up into pieces. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of things that I'm missing, and that's what I guess I like about regional movies is everybody has their own horror or stories that are just like, no, that's I knew that from growing up, and like we don't have to explain what the Mothman is to anybody or Swamp Thing or Bigfoot, like we just know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It makes me think about the American version of this movie, right? Because the American version of this movie is very much like, okay, we're gonna get out. We just need to go find a place with no technology. The world's ending, but we're gonna be okay. And the overall feeling with these characters is that even though they made it out, it really just doesn't matter because that look back on Japan and it's all junked up. It's like, never mind. It doesn't matter if we're okay or not. That's the whole feeling at the end. It just the whole thing
remember the
got
Aqua
busted.
Teen Hunger Force with the wizard in the internet, and they start putting all the pop-ups start popping up in real
Yeah. Okay.
life.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so they move into the middle of nowhere to an island to get away from the pop-ups, but then Shake brought a phone with him and hits the button, it starts all over again. That was I believe that was written about this movie, I think.
It might have been actually, yeah. 100%. Just an interesting idea from like the it wasn't the start of the internet, but it was still the infancy for the public usage of the internet at this time. So 2001, people had it, but not that many people.
You had to like they weren't sending like you were getting AOL discs in the mail at this time, like trying to get you on the internet. And
Mhm.
like if you're really savvy, you might have called the local place to get your own internet service, but most people were still AOL in it during this time in the States anyways.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time where like I was able to sign up for an email address and just use my name, and I got it. That doesn't
Yeah.
happen anymore.
Hotmail, baby.
Yeah. I
Yahoo.com.
I remember when Gmail came out. That was the coolest thing in the world, and
I
unironically,
had to have my buddy invite me. Yeah.
and it was that. Yeah, you had to have the invites because they didn't.
Yeah.
They're like, it's an exclusive club.
Facebook was the same way, right? You had to be in school to use it.
And of course,
And they
everyone.
let all the normies in.
I remember. I think I was a junior in high school when I got into Facebook, and technically that was against the rules. Right, they were asking for like pictures of like your acceptance
Oh,
letter, and
no.
so everyone would just share around the same acceptance letter that was so pixelated you couldn't actually read any of the words, and that was how you got around it.
Zuckerberg didn't care.
Zuckerberg didn't care. He just wanted your face on there so you could rate if it was hot or not. That was the whole thing. And yeah, understand the context on that, but I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, but social media messed people up, so this guy's right.
Yeah,
It made people weird and abnormal and combative and self-serving and lonely, and then they take it out on other people and they blame other people for their loneliness. So yeah, I mean, he nailed it. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
it's weird because there's no social media before this, right? There's no hints of what the internet's really going to morph into, and yet we have these algorithms again that are just walking us towards this thing. Such existential dread that humanity can't exist in the way that it needs to deal with this connection, because the connection is actually a severing of the human connection and a creation of the network.
Well, you can't exist in a public space because the public spaces that are online now are owned, and you just get pushed dread and things that cause you anxiety to keep you clicking things, to keep you engaged, right? They figured out you being afraid is the best way to keep you engaged.
And it keeps you trapped in your rooms away from everybody else.
And that's exactly what this movie is saying as far as I saw it.
And I think there may be like, that's it, really. It is that's it. And it's funny because, again, I don't think that those were the reasons why he thought it, but he definitely
but that's
saw
what happened.
I don't even know.
So that's what I was saying earlier about like, yeah, you got it right, man. Like, it's not even like, it didn't feel clever to me because I live that shit sucks. I get it, dude. Like, I get it. You're right.
It's so funny because Kurosawa, this guy who made this movie and wrote it, right? He came out with a new
still
movie.
Alive?
Yeah, he is. He just came out with a new movie last year called Cloud. And I really want to see it.
I have some questions for him.
Yeah, no, right. Maybe I'll ask. Maybe that'll happen. I want to watch this movie Cloud, and it's about a guy who is a reseller. He like buys all like the fancy stuff, and he resells it, and it's like about moral implications of like hoarding things that people want. And I'm like, that's probably going to be a great movie, judging by this. Yeah, but like
nobody does that.
In this movie, he's like buying like figurines that people want and then reselling them for exorbitant prices and making a ton of money off of it.
Oh, I'm not a scalper, no.
Yeah, scalper is a better word, thank you, not necessarily reseller. But
well, I guess I don't really sell. Like my garage sale, like I said, I tried to get rid of some VHS, but nobody bought them. So you know where they went? Right back in with my VHS. I'm like, well, I would have bought these.
Dude, it's anyways. No, I'm not going to segue into this. I'm gonna stay on track here. The COVID brain starting to talk.
Tank it.
So let's move away from the human stuff. Let's ask the final question here. Okay, so if you walked away with one lesson from this movie, what would it be?
Something I preach a lot in my day-to-day life, that true community and true connections with actual people and doing much more than just existing near people, but eating with them and sharing thoughts with them and working with them and building a community with them in every way. People should have community guard, like people should be together and not separated. And when you separate people, they become weird and antisocial and angry and quick to believe anything and super malleable. And it's just, there's no strength in it. There's no strength in an online community. It just can't exist like it does in the real world. Nobody's going to pick you up when you fall down. And so I would say that what I took away from this movie was, um, stop, stop, stop. I'm not supposed to, I can't say anything, like, because then, like, they'll kick through my windows and stuff, but, like, just stop. Like, stuff's crazy. Become an insular community within your communities. And if you don't like the people that you're around, try to build communities in any way that you can that exists with real people, because if not, you're going. Not everybody. I know some people have, like me, are just really antisocial. I get it. But, like, if you can, online isn't the real world. And when you're talking to somebody face to face, it's going to be a much different person than it is online. And sadness from chronic internet, ghosts. Sure, that's a good euphemism or point for it. Things that scare you, and yeah. So that's what I took from it. Talk to people. Seemed like the people that stayed with each other the whole time are the only ones that made it. Kinda.
A little bit. Still.
They led you to believe it until the last moment of the movie, and then they're like, "No, fuck you," and then the movie shuts off.
The whole thing is, don't use Truth Social, not even once, okay? Because if you do, you've already doomed yourself, no matter how hard you try. Yeah. Okay. My first joking one that I'm going to say is, don't wear a Denver Broncos shirt at any point in your life, because if you do, you're gonna get haunted by a gymnast, and that's what's going to happen. And not in like a cool way, in a very awful way.
I'm
And if you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking
for your
about.
birthday.
I just saw a Denver Broncos shirt and I was like, stop, you can't do this to me in this movie. That's not right. This isn't the place to trigger me like that.
Yes, it is. This movie was built around sadness.
Being a Broncos fan, I guess, is probably, the team owned by Walmart. Anyway, it's hard to argue the point that you took away with that. I think that is ultimately like the number one, is that technology, while it is very useful force, it is also easily going to shape and alter our perspectives on everything, and especially society as a whole. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring us apart. And things like talking online, things like doing stuff online, isn't the same as being next to people.
I have empathy, and I try to use empathy on the internet, and it just doesn't matter.
Oh, it just
It's
gets
like
smacked down.
the internet filters out empathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And throws it up against a wall. But when you're looking in somebody's eyes, you will have empathy for that person,
Mm-hmm.
because they're a real human being in front of you, and the chemicals will do what they're supposed to do to be like, oh, this is right. Like, instead of just getting mad.
Saying
Sad,
some of the most awful
because
things you'll
ghosts are
hear.
coming down the hall after you, moving in weird ways, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you got bugs under your skin.
I'm like, the any of the points I want to take away from this are just hard. It's just that once the existential dread gets too deep, there's essentially no way back. That's how I feel in this movie, right? Because you see people who have
It's like a virus with them
friends,
almost, though, right? After they see it, they're done. Like, they have to just not ever look at it.
Exactly. Like, once you touch it, that's it. It's almost the cosmic horror in that case, like almost Lovecraftian in a sense, because, and this is the cultural differences. I'm trying hard to pull from some historical form of it. And I'm sure Japan has their own version, right? But for us, it'd be like, once you've seen the elder, you go insane. You can't come back from it. Your brain breaks.
It's like you open the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once you open the door, you can't close it again. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, even if, like, you fight what's coming through, like, it's still gonna come through.
Mm-hmm. And the spirit realm is a strong realm. To answer your question, I think Adam actually covered this pretty well. The thing that you should take away from this movie is probably touch grass, get outside, go around people.
Yeah,
And it's a
and I get
different.
that sucks, but that's the point of the movie. That's what it's trying to tell you to do.
And it's a very different message now than it was back then. I'm sure back then people were like, "Yeah, of course. Why we would never be trapped in a room on the internet?" Now, now. I'm implying things with my lack of talking, in case you're wondering, people on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Igor, take us to the artistry of Poles.
Yes, master. Yes.
Yeah, that's my guy.
He's not depressing. He's an awesome guy. The artistry of Poles is where I could break out of the doldrums a little bit, because there are so many things that impressed me here. It is all pointing towards this similar, complete and total, destruction of hope. But it does so in such a cool way. One of the things I love about this film is the color grading. And usually I would hate this in a movie that's so muted, but it manages to still have such vibrant colors around and completely destroy their tone.
It's so hard, right?
Like the film grain and the gray is just overpowering.
Just depression. Let's put a depression filter over everything.
And it's so effective when they're in that greenhouse surrounded by plants and sunlight, and they're wearing bright colors, and you can still feel nothing but depression. It's like, holy
As a plant person, I must tell you that if they thought that they were running any sort of commercial greenhouse out of that space, I don't know, man. There wasn't a lot going on in there, and those plants were sad.
It makes sense. I think that it must have been a school of some sort, right? Because that was a computer sciences.
No, when they call that boss guy, that's a nursery. Plant nursery.
The artist, as with anything in this film, it's very confusing.
None of those people were students, right? That worked at the greenhouse. It was the other girl and the other guy that were students, the computer science major and the whatever.
Yeah, I guess you would be right on that.
They were like two completely divergent, different storylines, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they ever crossed, did they?
Well, I'm trying to remember.
Except for red tape and the boss taping everything up, right?
Yeah, it was the lady who crashed a car at that point is when they crossed, right? Because she was the lady from the greenhouse whose sister, Junko, had seen the ghost in the taped up room.
Okay.
I think that was the crossing point, and then the the names.
It was pretty divergent the whole movie, though. It was like two completely different stories.
See,
neither of them telling you exactly what was going on. You were just seeing like this crisis unfolding from two different points of view, and one kind of seemed like it was the start of the outbreak point of view, giving you that kind of clarity, and the other one was like, here's what would happen to two regular people, just like kind of looking into it maybe a little more,
That makes sense. One of the things that I should just talk about now, because I seem confused, the editing and pacing on this movie is confusing, I think, and I don't think it means to give you clarity all the way through, because a lot of the stuff is implied in the background, and that's just what you get.
On the brakes a lot, though.
Yeah,
it gives you whiplash, because it just like all of it, like you're going, and then it just like stops, and then like the roller coaster slows all the way down, and instead of Small World After All, it's somebody jumping off a water tower,
Exactly, and it shifts between these two stories, because you're exactly right, but it shifts between them seamlessly in a way that is really rough to follow along with, because it's like, here you go,
especially when you don't speak the language,
when you're just reading the words on the screen, so you get confused. Yeah, there's those issues, and I would say that is probably the most significant complaint I have about the movie in general, is just that following through it. I watched it again a second time, and that was really helpful. because all the jumbled mess of like wires in my head started
Yeah.
making a lot more sense. But as I watched it the first time, at like the 3/4 mark, I was like, I don't actually get it. Like, why is she in the car crashed out front and he's gonna find her there, and then they're just best friends all of a sudden? And it does click that this, I want to call it the pandemic for funsies, because
Sure.
um
Yeah, there's a global issue
mhm,
happening,
mhm,
so it's like obvious. You should know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on.
mhm,
People even
mhm.
have their own little thoughts and theories about it, right? But like they never shove that exposition down your throat. They don't even You don't even get a taste of it except for
Mm.
that one little part. So it's just you're just supposed to make it up, you know.
They show it to you like in
And
the
I don't think
beginning
I
scene.
understood how widespread the fuckery was until they were like out and everything's messed up, right?
Well, it's interesting because every version of it we see is so insular, right? It's so personal, one on one. It's inside of someone's apartment, and that's where we're seeing the splotch. And it's a friend checking in on them. You don't really ever see the outside world except for little snippets. And in the beginning, you do see people walking around in the back. Like in the background, you see people doing things. They're hanging out. They're at a college.
The
Then you
classroom's
see.
full.
Exactly. And then like you just start noticing over time things are taken apart, everything is nasty, it's empty, it's dark, there's no one around anymore. And then you of course get outside at the end and you're like, "Oh, it's all busted." And that's really good visually. If I wasn't, the characters and the way they're developed. And this again, I think you're right about this. This is the language thing and not understanding necessarily the tonal differences between people because I'm reading words. It just made it hard to follow what character I was watching at what point.
There's a lot happening in the words and the way
Mhm.
the words are delivered. And you can see it in their acting, and delivery of lines is important. Um, right? So when you're reading it and it's not lining up with what's actually happening on the screen and your eyes are reading at the same time, it's like, you know, it's just when things are really small and microscopic in scope that they're trying to show you in this world of depression, this crumb trail that he's trying to leave for you, they're really hard to see when you're already kind of your eyes are taken off of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That
Agreed.
ain't the movie's fault though. The movie's killer.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's exceptionally well made. The sound design on it struck me because
It's a
of
lot easier to watch like Kung Fu Hustle with subtitles though,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Because like you ain't missing much. It's going.
No, yeah, the glacial pace of this, because it does feel really slow and like purposefully so in a lot of places. Like it hangs and sits with you in
It's
plots spots.
grindy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but like it needs to be. I get it, but it's like, please no.
It's one of those things that really reminded me of David Lynch in those parts where it's like it's gonna make you sit and watch this thing for far longer than you should, just to give you that feeling of I don't know how to describe it other than connection
The
to the
yuck,
real world.
the ick.
Yeah, you're feeling the bad with them because you're now experiencing it with them because you've been sitting with it for too long.
Right. And we took just enough time with these people to make you feel some sort of way about them. And genuinely, for all of the characters, for me, it was positive. I liked all of them. I thought all of them were redeemable characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't, I guess. But whatever.
Well, it was like sad. the the lead actor, and I'm going to call him that because I think he has the most screen time. Haruhiku Kato. I apologize, idiot American. Promise, I know it. He plays Kawashima, as he's referred to in the movie. He's the one with the cool colored hair and the awesome outfits that are also
The
muted to the
most
point where
positive lad in the movie.
he's so positive and he knows nothing about computers and he finds himself getting into this on accident. Basically, he's like, I gotta go talk to the computer lab lady to teach me things, and she's telling him what keys to hit. Like he doesn't know how to hit print screen. He doesn't know computers, and yet he's
Well,
got a
didn't the
computer.
internet call him to begin with, though?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Like he kept
And it was
waking
do
up
you
to the
want to see a
computer.
ghost.com?
And he's like, I think that sounds interesting. What is that? And everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then it turns into a whole entire thing. Um, his character was so tragic, and they did it in such a way by making him so positive, and he's the only one who seems like he has this opportunity because he has the hope inside of him, and he
Yeah.
makes it out, and he still turns into a shade, and it's like, oh, so mean.
He looked at it though.
He did. He looked at it. It told him. It said, "You see this face? This is
And he said, "Don't
eternity."
worry about it. I'm fine." He was not fine.
She let him drive the boat afterwards, and I remember being so upset. And it wasn't really her fault. I was like, "This guy is in no condition to drive a boat.
No.
He's dunzo." But
Yeah.
the one thing that got me every single time was when you got up to the black spots, all sound in the background would cease to exist, and you would just hear the ASMR version of the ghost saying, "Help me,"
Yeah.
or not a
But
ghost,
the
a person.
obviously but the same clip over and over again with that weird sound filter on it, very well done. Very creepy.
Yeah, watching that with headphones not recommended if you're not like ready
I
for
did.
it.
It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. The background noise in this movie is so reminiscent of something like Eraserhead, in that it's just a bunch of random noises at times, and yet it works so effectively by just keeping you on guard in scenes where nothing's necessarily happening. So, you're walking through a hallway of like dimly lit, all the same texture all throughout. It's very blasé, nothing interesting, grainy, depressing looking, and that shouldn't like give you this dread itself, because a lot of hallways really are like that. But then when you get
Normal amounts of
background,
filth for a city, but
hmm
filthy.
and then you get the music going underneath and the sounds going underneath, and you start feeling that anxiety the whole time. You're like, oh, this hallway, something bad's gonna happen in here, and it turns out the only bad thing that happened was having to exist in these places.
Yeah. Yeah.
And few filmmakers have had that effect where it's like just this place alone is evil at this point, because all of it is evil now.
Right. Right.
So that,
Everything's dark. The only lights and others.
hmm hmm um the special effects, I want to give a shout out to a few of them. I love simple usage for jump scares, and there's one jump scare in this movie that worked for me, and that was the first time we see the shade and then the person coming out of the shade, or existing in place of the shade. And it's when
Very well done. Yeah.
yeah, I think I think it's Toshio went to the apartment to check on his friend, and he's looking into the room where he finds the manuscript for the Forbidden Room, and he goes in there and there's the shade in the darkness, right? And I think this is the part that the people have compared to Obsession, is the use of darkness and people in the darkness, because I've seen this comparison a lot, and after watching the film, I don't know that it's fully warranted, but it's there. The
I like the pixelated look as they come out of the darkness, how things come out almost cubed. I really liked that touch.
Yeah,
It felt like they were blockily loading in, but like pieces were coming in, they were coming into focus at different points. It's really good. I
yeah.
liked those parts. Yeah.
Junko going into the wall behind the friend, I think Haru,
Yeah.
when she's doing that, and you can see like it switch over to like a computer image for a quarter of a second, but it just looks right, even though it looks like she's not all there, and that's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
When he turns on the lights and it's the shade, and then he goes back out and he like stops and he hesitates. He's like, I'm gonna go back in and look again, because that makes a lot of sense. It is the person there. It is the most simple jump scare of all time. All you're doing is putting a person where there was once a shade, and
Right.
it worked so well, and it was so early on in the movie that it's like such a hook. And I think that hook was so necessary to make the rest of it work, because it needed to give you that meat. Like, okay, you will get scared a little bit. I need to get you on edge of your seats, and this is the way I'm going to do it. A simple jump scare that doesn't take the tone of my movie in a wrong way, but it does let you know that this is going to be dark and it's supposed to creep you out. I loved it.
Yeah. I would agree. Thought it was really good too. Didn't jump scare me though.
Yeah.
I was more like but I guess it did a little bit, but I was more like yuck. Like this guy's obviously dead, right? Because the
Yeah.
whole time I'm trying to figure out like when a movie starts like this, you're trying to figure out, is this psychological or is this realism? Like, is this really happening or is this mental? And then it's like, oh, this is really happening. Okay,
Mhm.
all right, I get it now.
Maybe it's that mystery that it introduces, right? Because it's like, oh, wait.
Well, because like he's like full alive, talking to her. Oh, it's over there, blah blah blah. And then when you see him hanging, it's like, nah, dude, been there for a minute. Like, and it's like, oh, all right, I got you.
The hanging was exceptionally like excessive, and the neck stretching, and like the zoom in on the neck stretching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dark. The lady who jumped from the water tower and it following her the whole entire way down.
That
Just,
sound effect when she hits, though.
just so
Chef's kiss. Good job.
exactly. It's so brutal and it's
It's
great
just a
because
bag of meat bouncing off the ground.
they accomplished it incredibly well, and like it's a very seamless thing that we'll talk a little bit about. Um, the ghost that Junko saw, the one with the hair that was like wily a little bit and kind of moving up and down, that one was a little goofy to me. But
The one that looked up over the couch at him.
no, that one, the one with the lady where she comes out and she's like zombie walking towards her.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you saw
Nah,
the
she
face.
looked cool though.
She did.
I don't think I would have been afraid of her, but I think there's some like innate terror in the face that drives people mad. But like, nah, that lady wasn't so scary.
Right,
She
and
was
Junko,
aight. She just wanted a hug.
I know Junko was like going back in. She's like, no, wait, hold on, I gotta see this person.
I get
The,
it.
the little boy in the library was very like grudge coded to me, but that's just American view. I see him in the background, like he looks like the
100%.
kid from The Grudge.
Some of the talking points that they had when they were interviewing them about this movie, they're talking about The Ring, and how they use some points from that. So I'm sure they were using points from The Grudge as well. That was just, those were the movies back then.
Yeah, I read that he desperately wanted to differentiate himself from it, but of course, how can you also like ignore such a gigantic success that's brought so much
Well, the
in?
problem is, as soon as you want to not be that, you've already let it in, right?
Yeah,
It's impossible not to. So you just, yeah. It's all right.
part of it. The just in general,
The Grudge doesn't own shadowy people.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. I think this is a pretty fair usage of it. The effects themselves may have like teetered on goofy at times, but they were still really effective where they needed to be. The guy inside of the red room that Kawashima talks to, he doesn't really talk. He just listens to him before he's like, "Yeah, let's get out of here." That guy looks a little goofy to me in that early 2000s sort of way. Like it didn't feel out of place. It's just not exceptionally believable now.
So, like early 2000s, late 90s, Japan had a lot of like late 80s USA vibes going on in it, like blue jean culture and stuff. So, there's a lot of that in this movie. A lot of those kind of like 80s Southern California outfits, like the red tracksuit guy and like, football, Broncos, America, USA #1 kind of stuff, and it had that vibe to it definitely, which I like, but I thought it was funny.
I love the deconstruction of the set over time. Like as you're watching, and the computer room is just getting more and more trashed. All of the wires are hanging from the
I just
ceiling and
kept
stuff.
thinking that people were just like there had been looting going on or something, and people were dismantling stuff and taking it.
I was imagining that they were like literally looking for the ghost in the wire. They're like, "Where is this motherfucker? I'm gonna find him in here."
Do you think it was that, or do you think it was more of a deconstruction of everything, like the world just being torn down?
I think it was meant to visually represent the deconstruction of everything. I think you're on to it, like because
Right.
we didn't have a lot of scenes outside in the movie, so you need to
It
think.
did feel grandiose like that, though, right? Once they went outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean,
And
we
then
even
the only
saw
place in the world still broadcasting is in South America or whatever, and like they're not even sure that there's people there. There's what, 2 people that you hadn't met on the boat, and then the one girl you had met on the boat, and that was like it. And then Dust Guy.
so the movie starts at the end, right? That scene on the boat in the beginning has to be the end of the movie, right?
I guess.
I know it's confusing. The ship captain, the guy who was on there, he was the main star of Kurosawa's first film, Cure.
Okay.
And so I saw him. I'm like, oh, cool, reunion. And he only shows up in that scene at the very end. I was like, oh,
Right.
well.
Okay. Okay.
He has cool pants. Side note, just complete side note. I will say that. I think we sound like we're going to agree with the artistry here. While depressing, it's just really fantastic, well dialed in, at the very least, and it's hard to.
Different shading, but like City of Godish as well, like that real just puts you in a mood. Like painted his palette perfectly. It
Mhm.
it elicited the emotions I believe he was trying to elicit, right? Like, he got the response I think that he probably wanted.
I agree. I think the photography was just so well edited at the end because again, there was colorful things, there was like exceptional looking things. There was nothing that was like disgusting or grimy or nasty about any of this, and yet it all felt so dark, so depressing. Some of the imagery was so abstract feeling that I think this is what gives me the Lynchian vibes is when they're standing in the stairwells and you've got the patterns on the wall and the stairs and they're just talking, and this is such a normal scene and yet it feels like such a nasty place for no real reason other than he's painted it as a nasty place.
Right.
You know it is
You're
because,
waiting for the terribleness to happen
right, and that's kind
all
of
the
that
time,
existential
every
dread.
day.
Mhm.
Like real life.
The end of the film, near the end of the film, when the plane crashes overhead, and I think that the special effects kind of bite off way more than they can chew for a quick
Oh,
second.
I love it. Yeah.
It
That's what
was
I'm talking about, though. That's when it gets corny.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's just a limitation of the time, you know. I don't think anybody's gonna give him $10 million to crash a real plane.
The ash going through the everything that's clearly just an overlay was so funny to me, and I don't blame him, right? Because the burned out bodies or whatever inside of that building that she walks into, spooky looking, pretty cool, and then you just got this awful looking CG ash over the top of it. Uh, yeah, at that point you're bought in. It's too late. It doesn't matter. It's not important, really.
No, not important.
The plane lets you know that it's not just Japan. Almost on its nose. It's like the plane is the way it's showing. They're like, hey, even if you're in the sky, you're still getting hurt by these
Yep.
things. They don't stop just because you've managed to take yourself away from them. Um. So Adam, what's the shot or moment you'll remember a year from now?
The the ghost that comes up and looks over the couch, how it moves to the couch, and then just that whole scene. It was really disjointed movement, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but like it was disturbing. It was visually disturbing and things like that where like you should hear bones grinding and breaking and like it just looks bad. Um get me. So that part got me.
I
What about you, dog?
For me, it's actually just the shades on the wall, right? Because I've been wondering for a long time where the genesis of this sort of idea comes from. I've loved Silent Hill forever, and Silent Hill uses shades in the wall in a similar way a lot of the time.
Sure. Yeah.
And of course, it looks spooky, right? That makes a lot of sense. It looks terrifying, but giving it more of like a not a tangential reason, but like giving it more of a real reason for existing, I think is something that'll stick with me. And when I see this, I'll be like, these aren't dead people; these are people who left because it's been too bad.
Right.
It's almost like
Isn't
the
there a
next
Mario game where he goes to the Shadow Realm and moves as a shadow and exists as a shadow?
maybe that sounds like one of those
I think there's
RPG.
a big part of like Japanese like Shadow Realm because I know there's like the Shadow Forest there where people go to hang themselves and like I think there's something we're missing.
Yeah,
I think it might be a common place that they're going to that's just like known there, like Depression Plus Zone or something.
it's a stand-in for like full on just loss of a person's hope and like their light going
Right.
out. Yeah.
Dread. I guess worse than that even. Complete giving up. But not even that. Like giving yourself over to nothing. Like the wolf in the never ending story says, it's nothing. It's just, it's nothing. That's what it is. It's nothing. It's the existence of nothing, you know. Took me a long time as a kid to figure out what that meant.
Yeah, I had those debates with some of my friends. Like, well, what's nothing? Well, if you think of something, then that's not nothing.
Right.
But yeah, I think about that because it's the idea presented to me in some ways is that if you're a ghost, you're going to be lonely forever, right? Well, if you're not a ghost and you turn into the shade, how can you convince yourself that that's better? And I guess the answer
Well,
is
all of them were
whatever
asking for
ghost
help, so they probably weren't stoked about it.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Um. There you go. What
It's
like
not like they were like, turn into a shade. It's cool. We have punch.
and
You
what
know?
what I will say is that with this film, I want to bang on the drum praises for it here, but you've heard it already. This movie's super tight cohesively. Like if this is what you're looking for in a film, I have a hard time thinking of one that manages to so thoroughly remove anything other than this existential dread from its images. Which,
And if I'm likening it to children, like City of Lost Children, trust that I have respect for this film, and I think it's extremely well done. It did not make me happy. It made me very sad, but that's not because it's a bad film. That's because its purpose is to make you feel bad.
this is my fault, man. I looked up all these movies from the Mindfuck movie pack forever ago, and it's just sitting around.
Oh, I love it.
Still.
I mean, I would have never watched this otherwise. It was a great film. I think I would have liked it a lot more in my 20s when I had hope.
Yeah, when you'd be like, wow.
Now it's just like, yeah.
Follow up Seventh Continent with a film like this. Trust me, we're doing good. Things are going good. Igor, take us to the 5 things you likely did not know about polls.
Yes, master.
Yeah, he's doing a different thing this time. That's good. So I chose this film, so I'll go ahead and get us started off here. The first thing you likely did not know is the shot of the woman leaping off the side of the building. It's called a relatively simple combination. I assume that it wasn't actually that simple, but it was careful editing, a little bit of computer graphics and stunt work. Director Kiyoshi Kurosawa explained it himself as a stunt woman was filmed bungee jumping off the rooftop. Okay, so we got that. She didn't actually hit the ground. Don't worry. She's bungee jumping. Then they did a dummy dressed in the same clothes. Not bungee jumping, just
a sack full of meat.
Yeah, just thrown off. And then they edit them together. The bungee cord digitally delete it. But I can also imagine that it wasn't really specifically that hard to move the person. Because in 2001, I bet with this film, they're still working with film. And 100%. It probably makes that a lot easier, this little part.
Splice, yeah.
It is.
Splice and cover. It's not, yeah, but it's very effective.
And it's very well done. Like that looks, I watched it in depth the second time. It looks very real, and it's sad.
Like if it was on a Faces of Death tape back in the day, it would have been perfectly placed, right? Like, because you can't tell the difference.
100%. Like it's really good. So that's how you do shots like that. Don't do it unless you're trained. I want to be clear about that.
I just jump off the thing, make a good shot, make the movie extra good.
Tracy 3.
So we were talking about the hallway walk where the person's doing all like the like, like bone shouldn't move that way. So he challenged the actresses to create a movement style that was completely unnatural, right, for the human body. And so Kitamura, who's the lady that did that, won the role on the spot after she was like, I can move in a way that's way creepier than the lady from The Ring. And so that's how she got the part. So that was like, they wanted it to be human, but they wanted it to be not human, but they didn't want to use any sort of, I guess they used a bit of makeup and a bit of clothing, but those things weren't super out of place enough. But the movements of the body are so broken and undead and not special effects, right? That's just somebody. And so it's painful to watch. Like you can feel the grinding and the popping and the moving, and like it's terrifying. And so the fact that he was like, I have to have this in the movie to, because the dread isn't necessarily, it's not somebody running up and screaming at you or like fangs or teeth. It's just, this is super uncomfortable, and yeah, the fact that he picks somebody just for that ability, that to me is something you wouldn't know, and a great nod to like the practical effects that they were working with, because their budget obviously wasn't a ton.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I was thinking during that whole scene, I'm like, okay, well, so yeah, she moves creepy, but why not just say like, hey, once, just try. My clear problem is that I work in crisis prevention, and at that,
Oh no, I get it. The whole time I'm watching it, and I'm just like, "Say what's up."
yeah, like just throw out
Either
a line, man.
either this thing's gonna get you or it's not. But like hiding behind this couch ain't gonna save you. So like, be like, "What's up? Do you need a hug? I mean, you killing me here or what?"
If we're doing that, can we make this way less dramatic right now, please? Because this is too dramatic.
we don't need all this. We're
Yeah,
good.
I get what you're doing, but wow, okay, you're good at it, but let's end it. The third fact is when Kawashima starts going over footage of people in the computer screen. This is near the beginning of the film. He comes across a bearded man who looks up and stares directly at him, and I know that's meant to be, creepy because the guy stares directly at him while he's watching a webcam feed or something. That man is Kiyoshi Kurosawa, writer and director of this film. So if you want to know what the guy looks like, you've already seen him. And
Cam model.
yeah, and it's like a perfect little spot to throw in yourself because you're on a webcam. Who cares? Enjoy it, have fun, get to be in your own movie. You don't have to talk. It's good.
The red tape that we were talking about it's a real Japanese urban legend, and they're forbidden rooms that are sealed up with thick red tape to keep spirits trapped inside. So it wasn't invented for the movie. He drew inspiration from a 1990s Japanese urban legend. Um, so they would find apartments that were completely sealed, and like a tenant would have died in there, and that's how they kept the evil souls trapped inside. And so the idea was, I would assume that it came from like caution tape or like police tape or emergency tape or something, but like, I think it was kind of like the sign "dead inside, don't enter."
Let's see, that's neat. But these are the things we're missing by not being in Japan.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
also the
I
stuff.
don't know. If I saw a room all taped up with red tape, like, cool, I'm not supposed to go in there. Pretty clear.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Because if they wanted to keep me out, they would have put a big lock on it, right? They didn't put a lock on it. They just put red tape on it. Pretty much they're just saying, you can go in there. It's allowed, but I wouldn't. You'd be like, "Oh, okay, I agree with you then."
well, and
The
the fact
people
that
in this movie, on the other hand, are like, "I got to get in there."
a construction company just had red tape on them too, because that guy was like, "Hey, do you got any tape? I need to tape my door up." And they're just like, "Oh yeah, I got you, bro."
Yeah.
Someone who I've mentioned on this podcast before, Takashi Miike. Dude, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing their names. I know I am.
think that's pretty damn good.
I've heard his name before, so I think that's right. But if it's not,
Takashi's completely correct, because I played the video game Takashi's Castle.
see, there we go. And then I think it's Miike. He said that this is the only film that has frightened him as an adult. And of course, he is a very prolific horror filmmaker, also from Japan. You've seen his movies before if you've watched them. Like, I think Ichi the Killer is his. I believe Old Boy is his, but now, of course, as I'm saying it, I actually don't think that's right. No, that's Park Chan Wook. So,
Yeah,
that's Korean. It's not the same thing. Anyway, my point being, Takashi Miike also made Audition. That's the other big one that he made, and a whole handful of other crazy films. So like, this is big praise from someone who got to direct a Masters of Horror episode. That's how important he was in the mid 2000s. So, check out his work also. With that said,
he did 13 Assassins.
yeah, there's so many movies he did. I'm like, of course
He did do Ichi the Killer.
Ichi is for sure his, and then I think there's like a Visitor Q or something like that as well. Like there's a ton. I remember watching one with like a zebra head, but I can't for the life of me remember what it's called right this second.
He did something called Lumberjack the Monster. We should watch that.
Love that. It's probably pretty good too. That's the thing, you know. Sounds silly.
So this scared him. So he doesn't want to be lonely.
He doesn't want to be lonely, and he doesn't trust technology. That's what that tells me. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, Zebra Man. That was the name of the movie. Anyway, he also did One Missed Call, which is a movie that I might end up watching because that also had a terrible American version.
Yeah, we do a good job of things.
Yeah, I just want to see how bad America fucks up. Honestly, like it's not that hard to see it when you watch a movie and you're like, "Wow, they really take the tone of that," and they said, "Screw that, man."
From the country that brought you the McRib.
We bring you Pulse, starring Kristen Bell. You know that lady from Veronica Mars.
Yep.
She's the right one for it. Okay, so Igor, take us to the final section.
Yes.
Better. Okay, so this final section is just a question, and it is simply: how does this movie stay with you after the credits roll? And Adam, I'll give you first shot at this one.
It's like it's good, right? It's like sitting down to a meal someplace at a fancy restaurant and they put it in front of you and just ain't your jam, but it's really good. Like, so you eat it anyways, and like you don't, it sucks, but like it's awesome at the same time. That was what I took away from this movie at the end of it, was just like I'm an American. And like Kevin Smith with Clerks, how he first had it edited was Robert came in and shot Dante at the end of the movie, and that's how they closed it out, with like a death at the end, so like nothing mattered, right? This movie did shoot them at the end pretty much, right? Nothing mattered. Nothing mattered the whole time. It was all an act of futility, and everybody's going to die alone and sad. And yeah, it got me feeling up in my feelings that way. I wouldn't say it was like a long lingering feeling. I don't think it was disturbing enough to like ruin hours of my day or anything. But I would say go into it with a mindset that there's no redemption in this movie. There's no cleansing of sin in this movie. There's no silver lining to any of it. It just gets worse. Like real life.
Uh, um, See, it sits with me kind of like in the same way one of the cyberpunk movies sit, you know, where it's like it took this idea of technology that exists vaguely now, and it said, if we continue down this path, this is what will happen, right? And it's a very cynical look at that idea, and it's through the lens of horror. So they, introduce ghosts and spirits, but the ghosts and spirits are stand-ins for whatever you really want them to be.
The reality is so much worse, right?
Well, and this is the thing: we're watching this movie 25 years later, and so 25 years later, you're like, wow, it basically nailed it in some ways, and it maybe didn't go far enough, really. Like they didn't explain how the ghosts make us hate each other.
Right? The ghosts at least weren't toxic.
Yeah. They were like, yeah, those ideas, maybe you should go and fight your fellow people. And I said fight. That was the nice
Your neighbor hates you. Did you know that?
I mean, like, look, the dude cut off his dad's head, right? Like, we don't have to delve too far to find stuff like this, okay? But how it sits with me is just like, yeah, I agree with you. I think I texted you after I watched it. I was like, I don't know that I'd call the film enjoyable or entertaining in the way that you may expect those words. However, what I would say is that for a piece of film looking at something depressing and prognosticating the future in the way it does, it did a pretty phenomenal job. So it's hard for me to say anything other than praises for the actual filmmaking. However, I wouldn't recommend this
100%, man.
Yeah, for entertainment viewing. Like, that's not where it's at. This is like the viewing where you do it like we are to find out what makes this film work, and not
Yeah.
because you
It
want to throw
doesn't
it on.
even give you a sugar cube, right? It
No.
doesn't even
Mhm.
give you a sugar cube of happiness at all, like of anything. It doesn't even throw you a crumb. At least in some terror, like we're gonna wreck you horror movies. There's maybe, somebody makes a joke, or like there's a scene of nudity or something. Like something to lighten the mood. This has none of that. Nobody ever lightens the mood. They're very serious about being very sad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even the one point where you could maybe argue where Kawashima is talking about, like, I think they're going to make a pill that's going to keep us alive forever, right? And it's like,
Which
oh well,
also sounds terrible, though.
yeah. Well,
Like nobody
we're
wants
25
that.
years in the future, right? We know that if they made that pill, it would cost $16 billion, and it would only be for 3 different people.
Yeah.
So you don't get that from this movie at all. It's like, nah. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
But for the same reasons I would recommend watching David Lynch, I would recommend watching this, though. It's just like it elicits a response within you that I think comes from within the person watching the film. And it's not explained. It's not at any point necessarily spoon fed for you. And the plot, as you may have mentioned, has clear enough points that you can get the plot, but the actual feeling underneath comes from the intrinsic idea. And movies that do that to me, I'm always saying, watch it. You need to watch it yourself. Just be prepared for what you're getting into, because it's not necessarily the fun thing. I did this to Adam, and I feel kind of bad. Um, I've done it to him twice now too. It's one of those things. You hear about good movies, and good is always a very in quotation marks. It just depends on what you're
Um,
looking for.
no, I liked it though. I did. Um, it's just raw, and at a very raw time in the world for being so on the nose.
I forgot. I started off this movie, and I was so ready for the American Pulse, where it was kind of silly, kind of goofy, because it was so stupid in a way.
Sure.
And it just wasn't that at all. It
You
was
thought you
very
thought
much.
you were getting demonoid, but instead you got train spotting on the internet.
Yeah, it was like, oh, here comes your surrealism. It's not even gonna like beat you in the face with it. It's gonna make your imagination come up with the ideals behind it. I'm like, oh, thanks a lot. My brain's doing the work. That sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna beat
I
it's
get
gonna
I
beat
get
me
to
in the head.
punish myself.
Yeah, but um uh, I love the Japanese horror films. They're just so different than the American horror films. And I think for that reason alone, like if you're out there and you're going, I don't know anything about these, like check out Pulse. Pulse is a good version of it because it is so dark and it is so dreary, and it is so unlike almost anything I've seen coming from American cinema, other than David Lynch. And that's not even a one for one comparison, because his topics of conversation are very different.
Right. No, it's a good story, well written, well told. The pacing was, yeah, good. It was grinding. It was painful on purpose. Um, yeah, great movie. Totally worth watching if you're into existential horror and body horror.
I'll be probably watching that Cloud movie by Kurosawa after this, because apparently when he has an idea about something, he doesn't hesitate to tell his most damaging version of that idea.
Nice.
So we'll
Nice.
see.
Right
Um,
on.
Thank you, Adam, for joining me for Pulse. As always, it's a pleasure to talk about the film with you. Uh,
Of course.
the next movie you'll hear on this podcast is Red Eye. I failed to write down the year of Red Eye, but it is the film from Wes Craven, starring Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams.
Well, that's
Yep,
probably good.
yep. And it's about a plane. It's called Red Eye for that reason. So it continues on our Cillian Murphy little thing that me and Janice are doing. So yeah, you'll see some of that.
Sick.
Otherwise, everyone dies. Therefore, there's no logical reason for ghosts not to exist. How many ghosts have existed since prehistoric time? Igor, and the podcast.
Goodbye, Master.
Yeah.